Good morning on what is a cool, grey and cloudy day. It is Tuesday, the 11th of June. I'm in the reading nook with a nice hot cup of tea and a cat who is not ours because it's just a cool day and he's a bit cold. So, I've got a bunch of parcels to unbox. So let's get to it. And what I have got here is Basic Fantasy role-playing game, and it's the 4th edition. Basic Fantasy role-playing game. This is the 4th edition of the Basic Fantasy role-playing game, a fast-playing, rules-like game designed for the style of play popular in the early days of role-playing games. The look and feel is classic, with the races, classes, spells, monsters, and magic items, including down to the very typeface and layout chosen. This is old school. Modern games systems are heavy, both in terms of the sheer weight of the books, as well as the amount that the players and game master must learn to play them. Not always true, to be fair, but it does apply to some games. Here in this one volume are all the rules needed to create and run adventures the old-fashioned way. An experienced player can create and equip a character in under 10 minutes, and even a novice can be ready to play in under half an hour. The game masters will find the brief and simple rules for monsters and magic make the job of adventure creation just as easy. Combat can be completed by moderately experienced players with little or no need to stop and look up the rules. Don't buy this book, well, not yet anyway. The Basic Fantasy game rules are available for free on our website. And they'll also find adventures, alternate rules, and so on. So, there we go. Quite a blurb. Now, this is, the original sort of published in 2006, and what we've got here is a classic style Retroclone. There we go. And it's quite heavily supported by a lot of adventures which are inspired or ape the sort of like storytelling beats of a lot of the classic adventures. So B2 Keeper of the Borderlands, at the Island of the Monkey's Paw, and so on is, for example, so you've got sort of like the Caves of Chaos is similar to B2 Keeper of the Borderlands. Isle of the Monkey's Paw is not dissimilar to X1 Isle of Dread. And the other advantage is that these are inexpensive. Got a nice table of signatures there, presumably playtesters, I hope. So I've got the introduction explaining what this is, giving you sort of like some idea. And the thing is, if you've seen a Retroclone before, you will have a good idea already, to be fair. But it's going to take you through the whole process, what you need to play, how to create a character. But otherwise, this is going to be very familiar in its design and look. Basically, use of hit dice, character races, dwarves, elves, halflings, and humans. So just keeping this simple. Really, this is upon first glance, this is a derivative of, or inspired by, or a retroclone of basic Dungeons and Dragons. And then we have the classes, so cleric, fighter, magic user, thief, and so on. Then we've got a big table of thief abilities. So it's clearly presented the equipment, followed by the explanation of the equipment. So quite neatly illustrated. Quite a lot to read through as such, but it all depends. If you've got a section on CG engines quite early on the book, don't necessarily need to start off with that, but it's there if you need it. And then, so essentially, that's really sort of like explanation of the game, rules, rules for character creation, classes, and so on. And then we're already into spells. And so you've just got all the clerical spell listings. You know, starting off with first level, Cure Light Wounds. And then all the magic user spells and all the spell explanations. So yeah, all the classic kind of spells here. You know, you've got Dispel Magic, Feeble Mind, Firing Traps, Fireball, Fly, and you've got things like Magic Cure Light Wounds, Magic Missile. It's all going to be there. So I'm just going to slip. So all the way down to Wizard Eye, Wizard Lock, Word of Recall, and quite a lengthy section devoted to the Wish spell. In comparison to the other spells, I mean, you know, just one paragraph for Wizard Lock. And then we get on to the adventure. So here we've got looking at things like light and mapping and exploration. Handling things like secret doors, dungeon survival. And that's just over a couple of pages. Wilderness Adventures next. And employing retainers, specialists and mercenaries. Certainly specialists and mercenaries. Mercenaries that are fairly important in the style of game because they help bolster the player characters, certainly at low levels. So here we've got a table for mercenaries, and we've got a section on character advancement. For example, when we were playing through B2 Keep on the Borderlands, we rescued a couple of warriors, and they joined us, and they became characters in their own right, basically part of the story. So yeah, anyway, so now we get on to the encounter, and you know, order of play, surprise, monster reactions, you know, things you can do, initiative, running, maneuverability, and then got an attack bonus table, missile fire, you know, grenade night missiles, what happens to missiles that miss, and then covering things like brawling and wrestling, because one of the things with Dungeons and Dragons, certainly in its earlier iterations, is that, you know, just how do you handle brawling and wrestling for a system which is so predicated upon the use of weapons. Other ones covered here, so we've got energy drain, healing and rest, constitution point lost, falling damage, typical kind of conditions you're going to get in Dungeons and Dragons style of play. And lastly, saving throws. And so you've got the classic ones, you know, death ray or poison, magic wands, paralysis or petrified, dragon breath spells, and it's all done by level and class. Monsters. So this is going to be like a length section, so I've got an explanation of all the basic monsters, details, stats, and abilities. Then really quickly, we're just straight into it. Beasts of Burden, options there, so on, with quick, you know, paragraph each underneath, and then turn over the page, and we've just got the start of the monster descriptions. So on this page we have ants, antelopes, ape carnivorous, assassin vines, well got to see somewhere elsewhere for that, aurochs, barklings, and basilisks. So that's just on the first page. I'm just going to go through and show you some more. And in some ways, of course, as you would expect with a sort of like a Retroclone like this, it's the monster section which is the most heavily illustrated, and that all makes sense because essentially, you know, it helps the game master, the dungeon master, show, basically visualize the creatures so that she can describe them to her players, or if not necessary, just sort of like just show the pictures to them. So let's just check. So just flipping through. Just check to see. Okay, so in fact, the monsters section actually runs from page 62 to 162. So it's 100 pages of this book. I'm just that's the book. The big middle section is monsters. So you've got lots and lots of threats for the player characters to encounter as part of the campaign. Monsters at all levels, and so on. Let's just check out the thing. And this is the level cap for this is 20th level. So so we're all the way down to sort of like vampires and other things. And you've got a couple of things. So we have a couple of interesting additions. We actually have Trollkin in there, and Trollkin has got a best known for sort of like coming from Brinquest to Glorantha, but here they're basically they're young trolls. So treasure section. So you've got tables for layer treasures and individual treasures, guidance for adjusting treasures, tables for magical weapons, unguarded treasures, and then we get into the explanations. So I've got the explanation of magical items. So all the list of magic weapons. Here we don't have. So we have things like magic weapons, and they're actually a list of powers. So you've got like cast light on command, and then followed by charm person and so on. It's done by power of the rather than anything else, and it's looking. That's actually quite good. I like that. That's looking at the sort of like the abilities rather than the individual weapons themselves. But and so on. So got the full list and range as you would expect. And then we're into miscellaneous item effects. Because what that really does is set up, the game master with the tools to create interesting magic items of her own. So it doesn't actually have to be a sword that charms person. It could be a mace. Right. So then we get to rare items. So we've got to start off with bag of devouring, bag of holding, boots of travelling and leaping, mirror of imprisonment. So all of the classic ones you would expect. We have devices for summoning elementals, and then we are into the Game Master advice. So tables here for dungeon encounters, wilderness encounters, how to create an NPC party, and then actual advice. I mean, basically, rather than tools, how to character creation options, hopeless characters, acquisition of spells, handling all of those options, judging wishes. Before we've got some optional rules there. Things like the human experience bonus options to basically balance out the abilities of the demi-human races. Rules for magical research. And more just general advice and options and so on. your cursed items, so on. And then we have on to guidance on how to create a dungeon. You have to start now if we think about why, what kind of setting is it, choose special monsters, draw the dungeon map, and so on, finishing touches. It's a very quickly done, and then you've got a list of traps. Then we're on to wilderness adventures, strongholds, rules for creating those, and so on. And then starting adventures. Okay, you've got a list of those there, and these are all available. So yeah, this is Basic Fantasy at 4th edition, published by Chris Gonnerman, and this is all. It's compatible with all previous editions, so you can literally go out and pick up all the adventures, you know, listed in the back here, you know, and play those with this campaign. Well, sorry, basically with these rules. Sorry. So yeah, that's Basic Fantasy role-playing game. It's a very nicely done, accessible Retroclone. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you posting those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me out here with a package containing a book or game, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. Then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing of the Nook. Be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.